Okay, hello. Can you guys all hear me? Okay, that's great. Do you guys see the subtitles on the bottom? Okay, thank you.
Yes, yeah.
So, welcome to XplainED's first annual coding seminar. I'm sorry we're starting a little bit late, but we're having some technical difficulties within the other sessions. So we are sort of trying to get that fixed. So before we begin today, I would first sort of like to introduce our nonprofit. So XplainED is a Florida registered nonprofit organization. We offer one-on-one tutoring starting from $24 an hour. How it works is that some portion of that money goes to our company, which we use to fund our nonprofit works, such as this seminar or others. You can learn more about us at our website, www.explained.org. Just a couple pictures of our small projects. We do after school activity, after school clubs. We help host stuff like that, chess and math mainly. So after this, I would like, oh wait, sorry. Yeah, this is something about our teacher grants. So we're right now having like teacher grants. If you know anybody who'd like to apply who's a teacher, they could apply and you can send them the link. So after this, I would like to sort of introduce our instructors or your instructors for this course. So my name is Mike Zoe. I will be your first instructor. I'm the president of XplainED, and some fun facts about me: I love math and computer science. I participate in the USA Computing Olympiad, and I enjoy learning history in my free time. Your second instructor will be Kevin Ann. Unfortunately, he cannot be here today. He is a rising junior at the University of California, Berkeley, and he is a double major in computer science and pure mathematics. Some fun facts about him: he loves teaching, and he's also quite good at pure math. And he also likes computer science a lot. So I would like to first start off something about computer programming. So a lot of us generally, I guess, take computer programming to be like this really hard topic, right? I mean, like just a lot of stuff, like a lot of words that we don't understand. Oh yeah, by the way, for any of you guys, if you guys have a question, originally Kevin was going to be our TA, teaching assistant for today, but because he cannot be here, just feel free to unmute if you have any questions. If I'm going too fast, unmute and just feel free. You can interrupt me anytime, don't worry. So, but then, oh, sorry. Okay, so a lot of us take us to be computer programming like this really hard topic, which like just has a lot of stuff we don't understand. But in reality, we can make it seem much easier. For example, an analogy a lot of people generally like to use is a dog. A computer program is sort of like your computer sort of acts like a dog, in which it's really loyal. It'll do anything you tell it. Like if I tell dog sit, it's gonna sit, right? I mean, if I train it well, of course. Computer, just think of it like as a really well-trained dog. And so whatever I wanted to do, I will tell it to do. But the thing is, I can't just tell it, oh, hey, go fetch the bone, because it won't really know how to fetch the bone, right? So what we have to do as computer programmers is we have to tell the computer what to do using stuff it knows. So for example, the dog, if it has to go from, can you guys see my mouse? I'm just wondering. Okay, thank you. So if the dog is from this bottom left corner and we want it to get to this top right corner, we have to tell the dog what to do using stuff it knows. So for example, we can't just be like, hey dog, go to the top right corner, go like travel across the square. We can't really do that. We have to tell the dog step by step how to do it. So we will tell it, what can we tell it? We could tell it to go right maybe 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go up 4 times. So that's sort of just like the gist of like, it's just like something like a nice analogy I like to use for computer programming. So for example, this is a really advanced program that I wrote once. You would have, I mean, you wouldn't understand this right now, but hopefully we would get much farther throughout as this seminar progresses. So these are pretty much all of the like the commands that we would sort of have for our program, as you see. The objectives of today's lesson is to learn how to use, first of all, use print statements. Second objective is to learn what variables are. And well, third objective is sort of the part of the second objective. These primitive data types are variables. So first of all, let's talk about Java, because today's class, today's main lecture is about Java. So every Java program, we have to have, sorry, just wait 1 second. Okay, sorry, no, there's something, I got a notification for something. Sorry about that. So every Java program, we have to start out with something. You don't have to worry about what these words mean right now, but you will sort of learn about this later if you learn Java much more. So the first thing is that every Java program must start with something called public class. And so the class is, I guess you could just say what like the program, you could sort of call it what the program name is going to be. Sometimes you call it main. Sometimes I guess you could call it whatever you want. Generally people call it like something like what the program does. So the program calculates something. If I call it like a calculator, I would call it public class calculator, or public class like math, if like we're doing a math thing. The second thing is we have to have something called a main method. When you start to learn Java much more, you will sort of learn what the main method, what methods are or functions are. But in this case, you just have to worry about that. You just have to have a main method. So it's gonna be, so you always have to write the words public static void, and you have to have main, open parentheses, string, closing brackets, args, and closing parentheses. So after you write these two, remember, do you see these brackets? You have to make sure you always have those brackets. Those brackets are really important. So for example, this bracket, when it opens and this bracket closes, everything in between those brackets is your body. So we put everything that like our body of our code inside there, the gist of our code, what we want the program to do. We put the body inside there. And so the brackets are sort of just like what sort of it contains in there. The thing about Java syntax is that Java syntax generally has a lot of parentheses and brackets, because it tries to make everything like really clear and nice. Unlike Python, Python is a much easier language to learn. You don't have to have any good really brackets or parentheses. But just remember, so far you only have to have a public class main, public static void main, and you have this. Also, if you notice, we have indentations here, right? Oh, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. Like, don't feel free to just like unmute yourself and just ask me questions. So if you see these indentations here, the reason why the indentations really don't matter. We don't have to have indentations, but we have indentations because it makes it look better. It's much easier to read, right? Like if I had this, if this public class or whatever was not, the public static void main was not indented, it would be much harder to see what is in what. So for example, the public static void main is inside the public class. So I like to have everything indented one level to make sure it's like one sublevel. So the indentations are just to make everything easier to read. Like, oh, it's so much easier. Because like the worst thing is I make a really complex program and you know, I can't edit it because it takes me like 20 hours to find out what something means. So that's why it's really important to make everything look really nice and pretty in order to spend a lot less time reading it. Because like if you open a program you wrote like a year ago, you sort of want to still have everything around the same way. And still remember everything. So that's why we indent, and this is called a comment. So going to comments, we type them by // and we have anything we want. So this would mean that everything on this one line is a comment. It will not affect our code at all. Everything in there will be as if it does not exist in the code. It's just there so we could label things. So talking about print statements. So print statements are really easy. All we have to do is just do system.out.print. If you see this ln, the ln means line. It's an abbreviation for line. So we have system.out.println, and we have quotation, hello world, ending quotation. So does anybody sort of want to take a guess as to what does the line mean? ln. Feel free to unmute if you want.
So you're asking, what is it that you're asking? Sorry.
Line. So system.out.println. So this ln. Do you guys want to guess what that ln means?
Like a text box?
Not necessarily, but you're sort of close. So what it does is that if we put this, if we put this inside the main body, so you see this is our main body, system.out.println, hello world. If we put that, then what it does is that it doesn't enter. It's like pressing enter in Microsoft Word. It starts a new line. That's what line does. So remember we have public class main, public static void main, string args, and system.out.println, hello world. That's how we, this is our body. If we put this program in Java, it'll automatically spit out hello world and enter because we have a line. Similarly, if we do not want the line, we just could leave the ln outside. So we do not put the line at all. We put system.out.print hello world, and it'll automatically print hello world, no enter. So do you guys all get that part? If you need me to repeat anything, feel free to just let me know, and I will go back and try to re-explain it. So by the way, I didn't really explain how classes are going to be like. Classes will be split by 1 hour lecture and 1 hour 1 hour lecture and 1 hour labs. The way lab times are going to work is that we'll give you some questions at the end, which we encourage you to either work in groups or work by yourself and try to find out stuff on your own. So I'll give you guys all a chance to test this out on by yourself. So the next thing, so the next cool thing about Java is that we could sort of, let's say we have a plus in here, right? There's something called concatenation. Let's say that we do not, we don't want to put everything like, I guess, for some reason together, hello world, the same thing. Let's say we just want to write hello and world separately, but on the same line. We could have this plus. So we could have hello plus world. And keep note, there's no line here, so it's only going to print one line. Hello world, look at what's going to print. It's going to print hello world, the same exact thing if we just have a plus. Do you see? You guys think that part's cool? So if we have a plus there, it's just as if we have the two strings together, or the two words together, hello world. That's just how it works. So what do you guys think if we don't, oh wait, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. If you guys see, we have quotation marks. That's really important because if we put quotation marks, it allows Java to understand that these are letters. So if we do not have quotation marks, it will actually give us an error because Java will not know that these are letters. Does everybody get that? So when we want to print out words, we have to have quotation marks there. So now what do you guys think that's going to happen if we just have system.print and out.println 1? Do you guys think we're going to get an error, or do you think we have to have quotation marks?
I forget what happens, what's the difference between having the ln and without it? What's the resulting?
So here, let me show you one more time the difference.
Okay.
So when we have the ln, it prints, it's like as if we press enter in Microsoft Word. We have a new line. We start on a new line for the next thing. So like, okay. You know how like in Microsoft Word, when we press enter, we want to start a new line. That's what line does. It automatically presses enter at the end.
Okay. So it's like whatever you type, it's like, it'll keep that, but it will also put you on a separate line.
Yes. It'll start you on a new separate line.
Okay.
I have a question, if you don't mind. Sorry for interrupting. But
yeah.
For the punctuation, the semicolon, is that like the end of what you're telling the system to do? And do the periods, do they act as like spaces between the words, or?
Oh, okay. So this is how it works. So the reason why we have periods is because we have, that's just how it works. You have to have system.out.println. Like that's just like the function. Like you have, that's like the command name. And that's right, I forgot to say the semicolon. In Java, semicolon acts as period. So for example, if I write a sentence and I want it to end, I put a period. If I write a command and I want it to end, I have to put a semicolon. If I do not put a semicolon, Java will not know and it'll be an error. So like it will not know that this command exists. I have to have a semicolon to let Java know, okay, this is a full command, right? Are those all the questions, or feel free to ask?
Yeah, something else I want to ask is, will this be available after the session today is over, or should I take notes now?
You should probably take notes, but as we said in the email, we're going to record these sessions. If the recording is successful, I will upload it on YouTube and send you all the link, so you guys can all rewatch the video. in a separate email. Oh, also, please keep track of your email. We're gonna keep updating you guys for stuff like this. So, okay, so if those are all the questions, I will move on. So remember the one. So let's say we have system.out.println one.
I guess it would be an error, right? Because without the quotation marks.
So who thinks it's going to be an error? Just, I guess, you raise your hand. Okay. So in the Zoom thing, I think there's an option to raise hands, so you could raise your hand whenever you want. Anybody thinks it's going to be an error? Okay. So the thing is, oh, I see Nicole. Thank you for raising your hand. So don't be afraid, because if you're wrong, I mean, we all don't really know Java very well. So like, it's fine to be wrong. So the thing is, Java is a smart language. If we have just leave a 1 in there, it knows it's a number. So what it will actually do is it'll actually literally print out 1, because Java knows what numbers are, and so it knows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all those numbers. So we don't have to have quotations around it, and it'll print 1. And the cooler thing about this is that if we put 1 plus 1, it understands that this is a number addition. It understands, hey, I have 2 numbers and I have an operator in the middle. So when I print this out, it'll print 2.
What if you wanted it to say 1 space 1?
So in that case, I would use quotations, because quotations say, oh, I want you to literally print this out, like for like granted, like verbatim. So like it'll actually print out 1 plus 1 if I put in quotations.
All
if
right.
I put in quotations, it'll just think, hey, this is a number addition, so I'm just gonna put 2. So that's how it works if I do not put quotations at all. Java understands that this is a number. It understands all that. So now we talked about print statements. We finished that part, and we're going to be talking about variables. I'm just wondering if anybody, if they can't keep up, just tell me. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy, because after we move on, it's going to be much harder to go back. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Unmute yourself. Or I guess we'll move on right now. So what is a variable? A variable is a piece of memory that can contain a data value. It's like, imagine, it's nice printing out numbers, right? Like, for example, it's nice to print out this like 1 plus 1 or hello world, but what's so really good about that if I can't save it? So what variables exist so we could save things. So I'll teach you guys soon how to save stuff in a variable. But the main thing you have to remember is that you have a declaration, you have a name, and you have a value. That's the main thing. So you don't have to worry about this right now. We'll talk about different types of variables. So the first type of variable I want to teach you guys about today is integer. So everybody knows what an integer is, right? Integers are pretty much like whole numbers, negative or positive or 0. Any of those are all integers. But the thing is that in Java, in the integer, it only ranges from like negative 2.1 billion to positive 2.1 billion. Those are, if you make an integer data type, those are the only numbers that Java can store in it. So you just have to remember that. Of course, we're probably not going to work with longer integers because these integers are already super large. These are huge integers. So for a regular program, we probably don't need to have, as many, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And so we define an integer using int as a declaration. So let me talk about the declaration. When we define a variable, let's go back. We have to have 3 things. We have to have a declaration. This allows Java to know, hey, we are going to create a variable. That's why we have to declare it. We are declaring that we are creating a variable. So when we are making an integer, we have to declare that we are making an integer. So we have int as int. So that is our integer. That's our declaration. And then we have to give it a name, because how can we access it if we don't give it a name, right? It's like if I'm using Windows 10, if I save a Microsoft Word document, if I don't give it a name, how am I going to access it? I have to give a variable a name so I know how to access it later. And we have to give it a value. So for example, int num equals 0, semicolon. Remember, we have to have a semicolon. What it does is that we create a new integer called num, and its value is 0. That's what it does. Does anybody have questions? Feel free to ask. If I'm going too fast, just tell me. Okay, so going back, So for example, if we have int num equals 0, we have declaration num value, that works, right? The next thing data type I want you to learn is double. So double is essentially like a decimal. So it'll store numbers. It stores numbers much larger than the range of an integer, but it also stores up to 15 to 16 decimal point precisions. So for example, if I want to print out 4/3, it'll print out 1.3333 for 15 to 16 decimal points. That's the precision for a double. A double is pretty much the same thing. We just have double num equals 0. This will give num a value of 0. That's what it will do. Keep in mind that if we have a double, it'll always store with like 0.0 or 1.0. That's what doubles do. The final one I want to let you know is string. String is a group of letters. So for example, let's go back to our quotation, the hello world one. Hello world. This hello world is a string because it is a group of letters or characters. It's actually called characters in Java, but letters is also, I mean, they are sort of letters as well. So it stores a group of letters. Well, I mean, the reason why I'm saying characters is because it could be anything like exclamation mark or any of those special characters like @ symbol. So, but yeah, you know what I mean, right? So the way we define declare a string is what we do is we do string. String has to be capital case. In Java's case sensitive, so we have to have a capital letter S. For double, we do not need a capital, and for int, we do not need a capital. String, we have to have a capital letter string, and we give it a name, word equals hello world. So now string word contains hello world. And the cool thing about variables is we could print them as well. That is a very cool thing about variables. So for example, we have public class main, public static void main string args, and int num equals 3. Remember, here we are declaring our num. So we are giving num a value of 3. And we print num. We just put system.out.print num. What will happen is that Java will literally print out 3. So do you guys think that's cool? So if we just declare a variable, create a variable, give it some type of value, and we just print it out, it just prints out what the variable is. So int num equals 3, it prints 3. If we do like double num equals 3.5, it'll print out 3.5. So what's the usefulness of this though? Like, sure, we know how to store information, but I mean, do you guys think it's really useful, the storing?
Yeah, if you need to go back to it later and so that you don't, it kind of helps you keep yourself organized, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. Organization is really key. But another thing is, let's say we want to print this out. Sally collects some seashells. Today, she collected 6 seashells. She gave 2 of them away to her friend. So she only has 4 left. I mean, that's the simple thing, right? All we do is we do public class main, public static void main string args, well, bracket args, and we just print this out. We print it out verbatim, right? But now let's say we want to reuse this code, but she collected 10 seashells and gave away 6. It would, I mean, maybe doing it once, like it wouldn't, it's all right doing it once, I guess, but it gets a pain when you always have to change it, right? I have to change this 6 to a 10, and I have to change this 2 to a 6, and then I have to change this 4 to, well, no, the 4 stays the same, yeah. But it just seems like a pain. Like I mean, who really wants to do that? So instead, what we can do is we could give this variable, we could make a variable called seashells, make it equal to 10, make something called give seashells, make it equal to 6, right? And we could have system.out.print, we could say, Sally collects some seashells. Today she collected, and remember what concatenation is? This is why we use concatenation. It's so if we want to print a variable, we could print it immediately in between. So we could put plus seashells. As you remember, Java will literally print out the number of seashells because we stored 10 seashells. It'll literally print out what is stored in seashells. She gave plus give seashells plus of them away to her friend. So she only has, and if you look here, this little bracket, this parentheses, remember Java knows numbers, right? Java knows, it's smart language and knows what numbers are. So if we put seashells minus give seashells, it'll literally print out what seashells minus give seashells is, right? So why is this useful? Because if we want to reuse this code, we could literally just only change the 10 and change the 6 if we want to reuse it. So for example, if we just, it'll literally print out Sally collect some seashells. Today she collected 10 seashells. She gave 6 seashells away to her friend, so she only has 4 left. It'll literally print out the 10 and it'll literally print out the 6. So we don't have to go back into the code and change everything. We could just change the very beginning. If we want to reuse this for 12 and 5, we'll just put in seashells equals 12 and then give seashells equal to 5. And it's perfectly fine, right? Am I going too fast, or is everybody good with this, or everybody's fine? Okay. Okay, so let's say we want to redefine these variables because, like, I declared them here, and so I have seashells equal to 10. But what happens if I want to change what seashells equals later? Because, like, I might not want to have seashells always equal to 10 for the whole program. That's going to be sort of, like, I guess, boring. Not boring, but what happens if I want to change it later? So it's sort of easy. We just have int seashells equals 10. This is our declaration. But if we want to change it, all we do is get rid of the declaration. Just have seashells equals 6. Just don't have the declaration, and Java will immediately assign the new thing. So 6 is our new number that Java will assign to seashells. So now seashells stores 6, the number, literally the number 6. So for example, let's say we create this program, public class main, public static void main, string args, and we have int seashells equals 10, system.out.println seashells, seashells equals 6. We change what seashells equals, and now we print seashells again. It'll literally print out 10 and 6 because we first had seashells equal to 10, and it'll print out seashells. Then we have seashells equal to 6, and we print seashells again. Also, one thing I didn't mention earlier is that Java reads code up to down, similar to how we read books. So whatever it sees first, it'll first do it. So here, seashells has been defined, and it first does seashells equals 10, it prints it out, then it does seashells equals 6, and it prints it out. Now, the thing is, if we get rid of the seashells, let's say seashells does not exist here, and we just say system.out.println seashells, Java will have an error because it does not know what seashells is. Even if we define it later, it does not know what seashells is yet because it reads top to bottom. So we have to have seashells first before we use seashells anywhere. So am I going too fast, or is everybody fine?
Why does the first one, seashells equals 10, why does that have int before it, but not the other one?
Oh, because int is our declaration. It allows Java to know, hey, we are creating a new variable called seashells, and it is going to be an integer.
Okay, so now you don't have to use that for any other seashells because you've already said it?
Yes, in fact, you cannot use it for any other seashells because if we use it for any other seashells, Java will get confused. It'll think we're trying to make a new variable called seashells, but Java's like, hey, we already have a variable called seashells. So it becomes an error because it thinks we're trying to create 2 variables called seashells. So you only have the declaration when we're creating variables. That is the only time when we have declaration.
If you misspell seashells and you don't notice that you misspell it, will that cause a complete error until you find out that you misspelled it?
Well, I mean, if you misspelled it everywhere, it won't be an error because Java will understand, hey, see, let's say if I mixed up the E and the H, it'll just say C cells. Java will think everything is C cells. So if I write C cells everything, it'll be fine because I mean, yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Right.
Because so like this is a name, we can name this anything. We can name this XYZ, ACX or something, anything you want. And as long as we type it the same way it was declared, Java will have no problem. We have to type it verbatim as it was declared.
All right, thank you.
It was defined as it was created.
I do have a question. Do the spaces between like int and seashells, does that matter if you?
So we have to have a space in between because if we don't have a space in between, Java will think that it's one word, but it doesn't matter how many spaces is in between as long as we have one space. Do you get it? So we can have like 3 spaces in between and Java will be fine. We just have to have a space in between because it needs to make sure that there are 2 separate words. Does everybody understand that? Or so, I mean, sure, it seems really nice that we could sort of redefine it or like give it a new value, but let's say if I don't know what seashells is, let's say I don't know at all. It could be anything. And so I only want to add 1 to what seashells is. How do we do that? So what we do is we define int n equals 10, right? And what we have is, well, I'm using n instead of seashells. Sorry about that. So let's say we have seashells equals 10. We declared it here. And remember, we just give it a new value here. So to declare it again, we have int something equals something, right? We have to declare it. So let's say we have int n equals 10. That's our new declaration. And then we have, and we want to give it a new value. We could easily do this by, we do n equals. So this means that n is getting a new value. Remember, we have the name equals. But if we only want to increment it by 1, we have n plus 1. Because what Java does is it looks at the right side, right? We have the right side, n plus 1. And what it substitutes for this n is it substitutes the old n. So it'll say, hey, so it'll look at the right side first, and it'll say, hey, so n is right now 10. So I'll substitute this n with 10. And so what I'll do is now Java evaluates this and it gets 11, right? Because 10 plus 1 is 11. And now it creates a new value of 11 for n. So if we only want to increase n by 1 value, we just write n equals n plus 1, because that means, hey, we have an old value of n on the right side. We're substituting this with the old value and we're adding 1. And so we're putting this into the new value. Does everybody get that? Or
I do have one question though, which I'm still trying to figure out how I can like phrase this. So would that mean that whenever you put it, for example, if you were to put it out to print out n, would it come out as 11 each time, or would it come out as 10 plus 1?
well, no, it wouldn't print out 10 plus 1 because we assigned a value. We did not assign a string to n. So because this is an integer value, n now has 11. But it depends where you put the system.out.println line. If we put it in between where Java has not read the statement yet, if Java has not read the statement yet, it'll print out 10. If we put it before the statement, because that means Java does not know this statement exists yet. It'll only do things in order, the way we tell it. But if we put the system.out.println after this here, it will print out 11 because Java now knows this exists, right?
Why don't we just take out the 0 and put a 1 for 10?
Wait, hello, wait, what do you say?
Why can't we just press backspace on 10 and turn it into 11?
Oh no, it's because if we want to change it sometime later in our program, we can do that. We could go back here and change 11, but let's say if I'm doing like an advanced program and I need to change the value later because I need n to equal 10 everywhere in between here. Everywhere in between here, 10 and 11, I need it to, but I need to change it to 11 later. This is how I could do it. I could add 1 to it later. So you guys all understand this part?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
So you could also just change it to 11. Oh, sorry about that. I'm so sorry.
No, sorry. You could talk.
Later, not at the beginning at the INT, but instead of doing n plus 1, you could also do 11. It's just like a matter of choice on what you want to do.
Wait, sorry, what did you say? Can you repeat that one more time?
So yeah, sorry about that. So where it says instead of doing n equals n plus 1 later on, could you also have the option to just do n equals 11 or change it to any, or does it have to do you have to use an equation?
No, you can do anything. Like you could do n equals 11, but it's just something like if I don't know what n equals before, I only want to increase it by 1. So I can change n equals n plus 4. If I really want to change it by 4, I just put n plus 4. But this is like if I don't know what n equals before, like you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just wanted to change it by 1. You'll sort of see why this is really useful on Thursday when we do loops. This will be really useful on Thursday.
Thank you.
No problem. So next thing I have an example. So let's say Sally wants you to print these 3 separate lines. Sally has 3 seashells. She picks up 1, now she has 4. Sally has 4 seashells. She picks up 1, now she has 5. Sally has 5 seashells. She picks up 1, now she has 6. So I am going to do this together with you. I want you guys to, wait, let me stop share right now. We are going to do this together, I'm going to go on a website right now and screen share this website. Just hold on 1 second. So you guys don't have to download anything for this seminar because we are going to be using a website called repl.it. So let me screen share and let me show you guys. Okay, so can you guys all see this? Okay, so please go on repl.it and so we could do this together. You could minimize your zoom. If you minimize your zoom, you could still see my screen. So just press the minus button on the top, like here, and can you guys all still see my screen if you guys minimize zoom? Just wait 1 second. Can you guys all see this section of the screen? You guys see everything? Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that my screen sharing is working. So are you guys all on REPL? If you guys are not on REPL, just tell me. Feel free to tell me so. If everybody's on REPL, I will start. So what we do is you could press login or sign up. Any is fine. But I mean, I'm not requiring you guys to do make an account. Instead, just press start coding on the top right. We press start coding, and let's press Java because we're coding in Java, and we press create REPL. If you guys need me to slow down, just tell me. It says REPL created, and now we are going on a new thing, so new REPL. So I want, if you guys are all on this, just erase all that right now, and let's just do public class. And a nice little program that everybody likes to do first is Hello World. So let's call it Hello World. So if you make a class, you cannot have a space. It has to be one word. So what we do is we generally capitalize the first word of the first letter of each word, and we just don't put a space in it for our classes. Press enter. If you press enter, notice how REPL automatically indents for you. That is very nice because I mean, a lot of online compilers have them. So, wait, I have a question. If you do not have REPL on your screen yet, just feel free to unmute yourself and tell me, or else we'll keep moving on. Okay, now let's continue. Let's have public. Remember, every program has to have a main method. So we have public static void main string args. We have to have another bracket. So I mean, these words right now, unfortunately, we're not gonna have the time in this seminar to learn what they are because that's a lot of class. That's called object-oriented programming, and so we wouldn't have the time to finish it all in 1 week. So, but we'll focus the main chunk of this seminar on how to sort of code these things. Now we have to start. System out print quotation marks inside. Hello world! Exclamation mark. Semicolon. Remember, every Java program has to have a semicolon here. And then now we have that, we just press run. And if you look on the right-hand side, if you wait a little bit, what happened here? Public class hello world. Oh, I think it has to be main, that's why. Okay, so sorry. It's because REPL, if we have a different if we have a different, like if we have a Java IDE on our computer, we could save the file called hello world. We cannot do it here because REPL automatically has the file name as main. So no matter what, we always have to have public class main for it to work. So sorry about that. We have to have public class main, but in the middle, we could have public class like hello world, and then it'll literally print out hello world. And that's, I guess, your first program. So congrats to you guys for finishing that. Okay, so now let's continue. What's going on? Sorry, this. Okay, sorry, there's some difficulty with my screen for some reason. Okay, so now let's go on with the. Wait, why is my screen? Oh, sorry, my screen sharing keeps pausing for some reason. Okay, so now let's just wait. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yep.
It says it's paused for some reason. That's really weird. You guys see me doing edits right now or no?
What was that?
You guys see me doing edits right now?
I see your mouse moving.
Yeah, I see your mouse moving, but nothing else.
My mouse moving. What do you see here?
System out print.
That's it?
Yep.
That's good. I guess my screen share is not paused. I don't know why it says my screen share is paused. Okay, so can you see me typing right now? Let's say. Does it say hello W here?
Yep.
Okay. Wait, sorry, no, wait, what's going on? Okay, sorry. I do not know what's going on with Zoom right now. System.out.print. Let's say we want to print the Sally thing. Let's say Sally has 3 seashells. This is just example I'm doing. Now she gave away 1. Now she has 2. So remember when we have the seashells thing, let's have if we want to print out the seashells, let's make a new integer called seashell. So we have int seashells equals 3, and we have semicolon. Remember, you always have to have the semicolon. And int give seashells equal. So what we could have here is we could break this string in half. So let's break it in half. We just broke in half, right? Sally has end quotation plus quotation seashells. And what we could do is in between this broken string, we could add the word seashells. Not the word seashells, but the variable seashells. So now it'll print. Wait, what? 1 error. Oh, I forgot the semicolon. That's why I had an error. Print the same exact thing if we have the plus seashells in the middle. Now let's change this one now. Let's, instead of the 1, let's break the string in half. And then let's write give seashells. And then we have, now she has 2. And let's see if it still prints the same thing. Still prints the same thing. And now let's break the string in half one more time. We're not breaking it in half, we're just taking that last part off. And we're gonna do, what do we wanna do? We wanna do a arithmetic expression, seashells minus give seashells. And then what will that print out? It'll print out Sally has seashells. She gave away 1, now she has 2. So let's say if we want to do this over and over again, and we want to do this 3 times, what we could do is now we could have seashells, these if you want to print the statement again, get seashells. Oh wait, my bad. I have a capital S here. Seashell 1, right? Because what Java does is it looks at this seashells here. So it looks at the right and it says, hey, so we're using the old seashells here. This seashells is 3. So we're using the old seashells. And so now the new seashells gets the old seashells minus 1. So the new seashells is just 1 less than the original seashells. And of course, let's copy and paste this because we don't want, I mean, who wants to type it again, right? So let's just copy and paste it one more time. Oh wait, I forgot to put the line, sorry. If you notice, if we do not put the line, it does not print a new line. So as Jake asked before, yeah, it'll not print a new line. So the best thing we do is we could put a line here, new line, or we could put a new line there. Now we have Sally has 3 seashells. She gave away 1, now she has 2. Sally has 2 seashells. She gave away 1, now she has 1. If we do this one more time all over again, print it out again, it'll print out 3 lines. Sally has 3 seashells. Second one, Sally has 2 seashells. Finally, Sally has 1 seashell. Oh, actually, we have to get rid of the S, but you'll learn how to get rid of the S later. I mean, if you don't want to edit it here. So is this clear with everybody, or you guys understand everything? If you have any questions, just please feel free to unmute yourself. So this lecture today, we ended a little bit early. We ended 6 minutes earlier. So we're gonna go directly into lab time. So let's start lab time. I might open the PowerPoint again. Sorry, let's see, share screen. Let's go to the PowerPoint again. Oh wait, my bad, I accidentally pressed play from start. Okay, so, oh wait, my bad. We still have a second example. I forgot about this example. Given any 2 numbers, print the arithmetic mean. So I want you guys to first work on this for maybe 5 minutes on your computer, your own computer, on REPL.it. Try to just make any 2 integers. Let's say int A, int B, and I want you to print the arithmetic mean, just using a simple print statement.
Excuse me, I don't really understand what to do here that much.
Okay, so do you have any idea just yet?
Kind of, but I can't really understand it that much.
So what do you not understand?
I don't know what you mean by print the arithmetic mean.
Okay, so I'm not sure if everybody knows what the arithmetic mean is. We have a large class here, so this is sort of in math class. Sorry, let's say draw. All right, so can everybody see me draw on this board? Let's say we have some number A and some number B. The arithmetic mean is just A plus B. Sorry, my handwriting is not too good. It's a little bit hard to draw with a mouse. Over 2. That is the arithmetic mean. So if you're given 2 numbers, let's say define them, int A and int B. If you're given 2 numbers, print out A plus B over 2.
To do over 2, would you use slash, like the
divide a slash. And also, just 1 second, put 2.0 on the bottom. Put 2.0 when you type it. You don't have to know why, but, or actually, no. You don't have to have a 2.0. Sorry. Just make sure that sorry, just 1 second. just make sure that A and B are doubles because we want this to be a decimal. So if we have A and B are doubles, just make sure A plus B over 2, that's fine. So I guess when a lot of you guys are done with that, just tell me if you're done. I mean, this is just sort of for practice.
I still don't understand how you would write it in the code, like the arithmetic mean. No.
Okay. So let's do it then. Actually,
I don't understand this. I need help.
okay. Just hold on one second. We will get to that once everybody has a chance to try it on their own. So after I guess 2 minutes, I say 1 or 2 minutes, I'll do a walkthrough through this. So everybody has a chance.
How do you even do this? Oh my God.
I guess I will start now, I guess. Okay, so let me open up REPL one more time. Is everybody seeing this? My screen? Okay, that's good. So first thing, we have to define two integers, a and b, right? Let's say we have int a equals, that's how we declare the first int, right? Int a equals, what should we make int a equals? Give me a random number, I guess, somebody.
5.
5, okay, int a equals 5, semicolon. That's how we define the first integer. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. We were saying doubles. Because remember, we want any number. So we want to
need a space between the equal sign and the other two things beside it.
Not need a space in between the equal sign, but it makes it look prettier. So
Okay.
let's have the space in between.
All right.
What's the purpose of the double? Sorry, I know you went over this before, but I didn't quite understand.
Is a number with decimals. That's the simplest way to put it. It stores 15 to 16 decimal points. If we have int, it does not have any decimals because integers are whole numbers, right?
Thank you.
No problem. If you have any questions, just interrupt me like that. I'm perfectly fine. Don't worry. Don't be shy. So now let's define our second double B, right? So you don't have to copy and paste. We could print double B. I mean, not print, but equals, I guess 2. But I mean, just because coders, programmers don't want to type all the time, sometimes we have lots of variables. Sometimes we'll just copy and paste the previous one, change the name of it, and change the number. So does anybody want to give me a number for double B?
3.
Let's give it a decimal, actually, 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Make things fun. Okay. So now to print out, does everybody remember what the statement of print is? System.out.print. Does everybody remember that?
Yeah.
Now remember, Java is really smart. So we don't have to have any I guess variables before anything, because literally print, remember though, that it also follows the order of operations. So we need to have a plus b in parentheses because it goes order of operations and we have to divide by 2, or else it'll just print a plus b over 2. So when we have the arithmetic mean here, we just do system.out.print and we literally print the arithmetic mean in there. Because it's all numbers. So Java understands that this is a number. So it'll print literally a plus b over 2.
Hey, you're missing the semicolon, I think.
Oh yeah, my bad. Thanks for reminding me. I got it.
So we don't put any spaces between the a plus b.
Well, you can. I mean, the spaces
can?
don't really matter in this case because
Alright.
it's integer addition. So if we have spaces, we could also put it and it prints out 4.25. Really nice. It's a really nice program. Sorry, I've been coding in Python lately, and Python doesn't need semicolons, so that's why.
I have a question.
Yep.
On my screen, the dark blue area where it shows you the 4.5,
Yep.
on my screen, it's completely, there's nothing really there.
Nothing there.
No, it just shows something at the top that says Open JDK runtime environment.
You have to click the run button at the top.
Click the
You
run.
did-
At the top. Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, so guys, just don't forget, you have a run button. Java will not read your program until you press the run button. Hey, thank you. So, I mean, that's sort of like the most basic part of, that's pretty much today's lesson. So we'll get into our lab time. Wait, does anybody need me to review anything? If you do not understand anything, tell me right now, or else.
I don't know why I did the same thing as you, but it gave me an error.
Do you have the semicolon at the end?
Yeah,
You have double A equals 5.
yeah,
You have a semicolon at that end.
yeah.
Do you have the public class correct? Public class main.
Yeah.
What type of error is it giving you? What does it say?
It says one error, compiler exit status 1.
Compiler exit status 1. Does it say anything else? Is that it?
No, it's just that.
Mikey, it's doing the same thing for me too.
I think it just might be my computer, but I don't
Wait,
know.
could you try checking at the very top where it says main and then the string? Make sure there's a space between the string and the brackets.
Yeah. Make
'Cause
sure.
something like that happened with mine first. Not first.
Yeah, I have a space between string and the bracket.
I'm going to copy and paste my code into Zoom right now in the chat box.
You can't even copy me.
Okay, let me copy my code. This is my code. Copy and paste that and see if it works.
Maybe it's system. Like, do you have that as capital? The S?
Mikey, it works for me now too.
It works for you now? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I had the whatever these things are at the end, I had extra lines.
maybe. I'm not sure what it might have been. You guys might have, maybe you typed something wrong, a typo something. I don't know. But
I
yeah,
was struggling beforehand, but then I realized I just forgot the M in main, and then everything was fine. So
okay. Yeah. The
I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna try something. I'm just gonna take something now.
so
I think I had extra like parentheses on at the end.
oh yeah, no, that would definitely kill your program.
All right.
Okay, so let me start the lab. So that will be today's lecture. Today we'll only be doing print statements and variables. For those of you guys who know this already, great. I guess it's a review. But tomorrow we'll be going to user input. So like remember how we have to actually input a equals something. Tomorrow I'll teach you guys how to let the user input it. So like the person who's using the program, not the person who's coding, they will be able to choose what A equals or B equals. We'll do that tomorrow using the scanner class. So yeah, we'll
Wait,
be
I'm gonna try to read. I'm gonna. That will work.
sorry, you cut off. I couldn't really hear you. Okay, well, let's start our lab section.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
So you know the first two lines of code that you always have to type, like the public class main part.
Yeah.
Do you have to memorize it, or is it just something that you get used to?
I mean, it's just something you get used to. I mean, I guess you always know you have to have a public class. I mean,
Okay.
and so I guess it's something you also have to memorize.
What does it mean, public class again?
Public class, that's just sort of like I mean, it's like you guys don't know object-oriented programming just yet, so it's gonna be a little bit harder to explain, but public class is just like your main program. Like that's the name of your main program. So we have public class main, and then you start everything else. Let me screen share one more time with the
So is it like naming a document
yeah,
in a way?
yeah, pretty much. It is sort of naming document. Well, the class has to have the name of the document. So if the name of the Java program is main, so that's why we had to name it name, because REPL can only have the name. I'm main. Then yeah, it has to be the same name as the public class, the main class at least has to be the same name as the program. So let me continue with the slideshow again. Sorry, just wait 1 second. Okay, so can you guys all see this? Oops, my bad. I pressed the wrong slide again. Play from current slide. So do you guys all see this again?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let's start with the first lab. I'll give you guys maybe like 10 or 15 minutes to try to work on this together or on your own. Do you guys want to do breakout rooms maybe? Work on it in groups, or do you just want to work on it by yourself?
Breakout room sounds fun.
Yeah.
Does everybody feel comfortable doing breakout rooms? I'll just create, you don't have to join them, but I'll just make breakout rooms, and I guess you guys could go in by yourselves as you want. So the first lab question, I guess, this is the second one. Just keep note of this first lab question. You could maybe take a picture of it or something. Just make sure you just have this question. So print out these 4 different statements, and so what do you notice and why do you think this happens? So this one segment I sort of left purposely outside of the lecture because I want you guys to find out on your own what happens like when you do certain stuff. So I guess if you need more cases, just keep printing out more cases to see what you think I'm trying to make you find out. So
wait, I rejoined this on a different computer. Can you copy and paste like what the code was from earlier again?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Let me go to the chat. So if we do breakout rooms, you're not required to join a breakout room. I'll just make, I think, 2 breakout rooms and let you guys do by yourself. I mean, it's just you want to have fun, I guess. Okay, so this, did you get this new code? Okay, so I guess have fun doing the lab. So does everybody have the questions? If you don't, just tell me. I'm gonna stop screen sharing soon, so.
Yeah. This is in something to just make it a little easier. If you could copy and paste the print following statements, because having to switch back between tabs is a little annoying, having to like copy it, or actually it's not that bad, never mind. No,
Okay.
But if you could, it'd make it a little easier.
Yeah, I will just copy and paste in the chat right now, actually. So those are the 4 separate print statements you see: 1 plus 3, hello plus 1 plus 3.
Thanks.
No problem. So I guess try to work on that a little bit. When everybody's finished, I'll move on to the second lab question. So today's class might end a little bit sooner because I guess we got through the content pretty quickly. So
So the brackets at the beginning, for example, like after public class main, and then there's that bracket. Um, those are kind of like, what do they represent? Because I was yeah, sorry, just
wait, so what? You're talking about public class main?
yeah, the brackets, the curly ones, the ones that are kind of like form a three, I guess.
The braces?
Uh, yeah, sorry, someone's in the background.
That's fine. So the braces, what they represent is a pretty much the reason why we have them is so Java knows everything in between the 2 braces is inside the public class. That's why we have the braces. So we have to have one opening at the very beginning, public class, main, open braces. At the very end of the program, we have a closing braces. So Java knows everything in between is in the class. Does that make sense? Or
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
so braces in general just serve that one role. In general, when we use braces anytime, it's to tell Java, hey, all the stuff in between the braces is inside like whatever we want to do.
I still can't find out why it's making errors. I'll probably try to check it out after the class, but
Yeah,
still,
you copy and paste that.
I'm just gonna,
Copy
I'm
and paste is
trying.
going to give you an error.
Yeah, if I paste it, all the spaces and enters go away. I don't know why.
That's really weird. Um, maybe after class I could talk with you for a second and try to figure out what's wrong. Maybe we could troubleshoot some stuff.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
I got this weird answer. Not sure if it's correct.
Um,
I
just
sent Should I send you a picture?
Not just yet. Just save it 1 or 2 minutes.
All right.
So for the second line, are we trying to get hello 13 or are we trying to get hello 4?
Well, I'm not going to tell you what you're trying to get, but I just sort of want you to try to guess why you get 13 or 4.
All right. I think because I'm experimenting a little with it, trying to see.
Yeah. If you want, you don't have to use only these 4. You're not limited to these 4 print statements. You could try many more. So let's say just do any combination you want. Just print anything you want, try to find it out. I mean, the reason why I'm doing this is because I sort of want you guys to sort of experiment why this happens.
Does the braces after public class main, does the space matter between main and braces, or is
So
it?
the spaces don't matter for main and braces.
Right, sorry. Sorry for asking so many questions.
That's fine. It's fine. That's perfectly fine. If you have any questions, just ask me. It's fine. Does anybody know how to make breakout rooms? Okay, well, thanks. That's fine.
I think there should be something when you have like the managed participants.
Yeah.
Sure how to do it though.
I don't know. It's weird. The option doesn't come up. Okay, so I guess let's get started with what this is. So I'm going to screen share again. Just bear with me one more time.
You're muted.
Oh wait, my bad. Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. Okay, so can everybody see this?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming everybody can see this. I'm going to start. That's weird. We have those little. Wait, so let's just start and let's just press run. Okay, so this is sort of, I guess, how. Wait, what? I have an error. What error do I have? Oh, right here. For some reason, that's weird. It had a open quotation. Okay. I do not know why that quotation was closed. That's very weird. Okay, so we have first line 1 plus 3, we get 4. And second line, we have hello 13. Well, we wrote hello plus 1 plus 3. And that's weird. Why did it literally press 1 plus 3? It just printed 1 and 3, 13. Third line, we have 1 plus 3 plus hello. So it prints 4 hello and fourth line, when you have the parentheses, it prints hello 4. Do you guys see a pattern anywhere? Do you guys think of a hypothesis or anything? Feel free to unmute yourself if you see a pattern or anything.
I'm trying to figure out how to like phrase this, but it's kind of like
So I'll give you a hint. Notice the placement of 1 plus 3. Notice this placement will work in every code. Is it, so here we just have 1 plus 3 by itself. Here, is it before or after hello?
after hello.
After hello. How about here, before or after?
Before.
Here? Well, here we
After,
have
but with parentheses.
Yeah. So when it's after hello, it'll literally print out 1 and 3. When it's before hello, it will print out 1 plus 3. It'll print out 4. If it's in parentheses, it'll print out 4 no matter what. So what happens is that if we put numbers like this, we're adding numbers together after a string. So hello was our string, right? If we're trying to print numbers after the string, it'll print them as if they're strings, right? It'll print 1 as though 1 is the first string, and then it'll print 3 as if 3 is the second string, right? So it'll print as if it has quotations around it. You guys see it? But then if we print it before hello, if we have 1 and 3 before hello, because it is before a string was ever printed, it is going to actually print 4 because it still sees, hey, we have no strings, so this is a numeric addition. This is addition. So we have 1 plus 3, so that's going to be 4, as we see 4 here. And we're going to have now we see a string. But because we see a string later, it does not affect what we have already read. Do you guys get that? Because we have parentheses around it, it'll treat the parentheses on its own. So that's why it's also really important that you guys have parentheses, because if we don't have parentheses, we might accidentally print 13 when we actually did not want to print 13, right? So that's the first lab question I wanted to show you guys. Okay, so let me screen share the second lab. Can you guys just see this current slide? Second lab question. Yeah. I want you guys to print out all of these 4 statements and tell me why you think this happens. So I'm going to copy and paste those into the chat. If you need help with anything, feel free to just ask me. I do not check the chat too often, so yeah. If we had a TA, we'd have a TA checking the chat, but right now we do not have a TA with us, so. So I guess print these 4 lines that you see here, system.out.println 3/2, 4/2, 3.0/2, 3/2.0. I'll go over this roughly like maybe 4 minutes or 3 minutes. This isn't that hard to find out. So in the meantime, I guess have fun. So
So
I will be, yeah, sorry.
sorry, you know how when you put ln, it's like pressing enter. Is there a way to do that like twice so I can create two spaces instead of just creating one and going down to the next line?
Okay, so that's a good question. Let me show you right now a quick method we could do that. So can everybody see my screen well? Okay, so wait, Zoom is giving me some difficulty. Wait, sorry, this is really weird. Let me start over one more time. Okay, everybody sees it now, right? Okay, so let's say we want to have another answer. Well, we could just do system.out print line and have nothing in it. So we have an empty line and it presses enter immediately. So if we just have an empty line here, we don't put anything, it will, let's wait for it, you see, it just has an empty line here. So just have an empty print line and it'll make a new line immediately. Just treat, if it's empty, just treat it like an answer. That's how it treats it. So yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. Oh, so let's start now. Let me go in REPL. So everybody see this, right?
Yeah.
Let's start. So I copied and pasted all these in. Okay, let's see how long Java takes to run. Okay, so the first thing we put is 3/2. I think we all know that equals 1.5, right?
Right.
But Java says 1. That's sort of weird. Let's say 4/2, it gives us 2. That's correct. 3.0/2 gives us 1.5. That's correct. 3/2.0, that gives us 1.5. That's correct. So the main thing that I wanted you guys to see here is that if we do not, let's say if we do not have any decimals, if we're dividing two numbers with no decimal points, Java thinks that we're doing an integer division. So what it does is that if we have integer divided by integer, Java thinks that the result should be an integer. So it will never actually print 1.5. It'll always round down. So 4/2, that is a That's equal to 2. So that we're lucky for that one because that is the integer. So it's 2. 3.0 over 2. Well, we have one double. So because we have one double, Java knows now to print a double for the product. So the double is now 1.5. And the last one, something out the print line 3 over 2.0. The last one, it's also double because we have one double in it, so it's 1.5. Does everybody get that? Or
Yeah, so without putting a 0.0 at the end, it'd be an integer, but if it would be a double, but without the 0.0, then it's an integer.
yeah, because if you have two integers, Java thinks that you're doing an integer division. So no matter what, the product is gonna be an integer. But if you have one double, then Java now knows, hey, it's now we're doing double, so we want the product to be a double, it'll print the double. So you guys get that one?
Something that I found a bit that I'm curious about is I kind of turned it in its head. Instead of doing 3 over 2, I did 2 over 3, but it gave me 0. An integer is a whole number, and it can be positive and negative, right?
So the reason, yeah, integers could be positive or negative. The reason why I gave you 0 is because 2 over 3 is 0.6. If we round it down, it's equal to 0.
Oh, okay.
It always rounds it down no matter what.
Always rounds it down. All right. Thank you.
So let's do one more. This one, I'll just walk you guys through it immediately. Okay, so this one, input the following code. Do you guys remember Java could only store an int maximum that's like 2.1 billion or something, this number here? This is the absolute maximum Java could ever store a number. So assume we have this int a equals this. What happens when we have a plus 1? Can Java print that? I mean, that a is the maximum an integer could be. What happens if we go over, right? So let me walk you guys through that one. So let's do this together. Oh wait, this is the wrong one, my bad. Okay, so let's do this. Let's print this one. Why does Zoom do this to me? This is so weird. Sorry, I don't know. Zoom's acting weird. Oh wait, so can you guys see this? Okay, sorry. So do you guys all see an int a on my screen? Let's say we have something auto print a plus 1. What does it do?
Wait, what should your screen look like right now?
It should say int a plus 1. No, int a and system.out.print a plus 1.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your screen is frozen on the one that we were doing before.
This, can you guys see now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
we can
there
see
we
it
go.
now.
Okay, so let's press run. Okay. So run, if we do a plus 1, we get negative 2.1 billion. Let's do plus 2. What do we get? We get negative 2. Okay, let's do it's a smaller negative number. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. Smaller negative, it goes one smaller. So do you guys sort of, do you guys sort of see what happens?
Is it like a loop of numbers where if it goes over, it starts from the very first?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it does. So this is called Stack Overflow. No, not Stack. I think this is called Stack Overflow. Do you guys see my drawing? Well, actually, no. Let's do. Let me erase that. Let's clear this drawing. So let's draw a number line. This is the smallest integer, negative like 2.1 something, right? That's the smallest integer that Java could hold. This is the largest integer that Java could hold. Once we go to the largest integer, if we add 1, it goes all the way back to the smallest integer. Because Java cannot hold more than 2.1 something for integers, right? So once we go to the largest integer, if we tip it over by 1, it goes all the way back to the smallest. You guys get that? So a really funny story is that in YouTube, I think 2015, something like that. Do you guys all remember Gangnam Style when it was a thing?
Yeah.
So Gangnam Style was actually the first video on YouTube to break 2.1 billion or something. Like if these integers say, no, Google, YouTube saved the amount of views as an integer, and pretty much Gangnam Style was the first one to break it. So if you went on, I think in like December 2015 or something, it would actually say negative views because if Gangnam Style broke it. So what Google did was that, hey, our int went over 2.1 billion. We're going all the way back to negative 2.1 billion. Do you guys sort of find that part interesting?
That's crazy.
So it's like, I guess some random guys want to watch Gangnam Style in like 2015, and they're like, whoa, why is it negative? They're like, whoa, why is, they're like the negative number for the amount of views. So
they just didn't expect it to ever break that number?
Yeah, I think Google just didn't expect it that time. And so they had to quickly change it. Okay, we have to change this to, let's say, they changed it, I think, to, I'm not sure what data type they changed it to, but integer is a basic data type. So that's why it could only store so little. It could only store up to 2.1 billion. But we're probably, in this seminar, we're probably not going to be working with larger numbers. So I mean, that's, oh wait, actually, I have one more challenge for you guys. This is something you guys could probably work on yourself for fun. Okay, let me start sharing this. So challenge. So one thing I did not teach you guys today is that we could actually do something called typecasting. So we could use, for example, let's say we have n equals this, right? If we have a 1.5 here, but we want to turn an integer, we could just have something called int. We could have int in parentheses right in front of that number. So for example, opening parentheses, int, closing parentheses, 1.5, that will first round 1.5 down to 1 because it saves 1.5 as an int. And then now n is equal to 1. But the problem is when you typecast, it only rounds to the nearest integer. Instead of it only rounds down. It never rounds to the nearest integer. So for example, 1.5, if we round it, we should actually round to 2, right? 1.6 should round to 2. But even 1.999999, it always rounds it down to 1. So I guess it's a challenge for you guys to think about for until tomorrow. Can you think of a way to typecast and make it so that it rounds to the nearest integer? That's just a sort of a challenge. So this is called an algorithm. So just think of a way, maybe a way that it always works no matter what number we typecast, it'll always round to the nearest integer. It does seem like a hard thing at first, but I'll give you a hint. It is actually very simple. It is not very hard. I will probably go through that first thing tomorrow, on our lecture tomorrow. Kevin will be joining us on Wednesday. Tomorrow we will be having somebody named Julian as our teaching assistant. Kevin will be lecturing on Wednesday. So I guess that's it. Thank you very much for joining today. I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mikey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If any of you guys need to ask me any questions after class, feel free to stay and I'll maybe try to troubleshoot anything after class.